You always want to be first at these things, so when you follow up with a PowerPoint after everybody says, don't use PowerPoint, you don't look like a fool. I also had the privilege of going to the Madison conference, and I laughed because I saw that there were other K-State people there, but our paths didn't cross while we were there. So it is a large conference, and it was very good. As was said before, there were lots of topics to choose from. I'm in the College of Education in the Department of Special Education, Counseling, and Student Affairs, and I also serve on the advisory board for quality online learning with Global Campus, and help with a group in our college called Professors for Online Learning, where we discuss topics. And I think one of the topics that is always of concern that I hear from faculty is about accessibility issues, and it's, resonating a lot more as we hear about lawsuits and different things. So I went there specifically looking for some of those sessions, and I just listed some of the sessions that I found and attended while I was there that had that accessibility theme. As we've all heard, I'm sure there's been a lot of recent lawsuits, and I think most campuses are kind of waiting around for that other shoe to drop. When is it going to be us? When are they going to tell us that we have to have our courses accessible next week? Or when you have a student who comes into your class that has accessibility needs and you're not equipped to handle them. What we find is that as we start to make our courses more accessible, not just for that one student, but for all students, that we see it helps many of the students. So it's not just the right thing to do, but it is, of course, the loss. So I just wanted to go through a few things. I know PowerPoints do get a bad rap sometime, but they are an efficient way of communicating information, and a lot of times we try to get very creative with our PowerPoints, and I just caution you that whenever you are using a PowerPoint, a lot of the accessibility features are built into them, but you need to start with the templates that are provided and then run the accessibility checker. So, for example, on the last screen, I had this slide. And then I can run the accessibility checker by going to the Tools menu and checking and see if my slides are accessible. So that's a quick check that you can do, and it's very good that tells you what you need to do for that. And I realize this is very elementary for many people in the room, but I still find that a lot of faculty ask those questions and struggle with that. So it can look just the same, to you, the viewer, but if you've gone in and done some things, it may not be accessible. The other important piece is to look at your alt text, making sure as we put images online and within our Canvas courses, whether it's in a face-to-face course or an online course, that it provides descriptions of those, and every image should have an alt text attribute. And when you're thinking about that, the same picture could have different alt text to it, depending on what the message is that the content that you're trying to convey. So these are just some typical things that we're often told, and there are lots of things online that you can find out more about doing this, both through our K-State resources and other places as well. The other simple thing that I think is an important takeaway is that as more and more of us put PDFs online, we hear PDF and we automatically think, well, that's accessible, but not always the case. If you scan a document, like I know many of us do in my department, we go in, we use a scanner, and we think, put it up online, and then it may not be accessible. There's some simple things just to check on your scanner to make sure that when you're scanning it, that it is a searchable PDF. So if you click on it and it highlights the whole page, it's not accessible, okay? So you have to be able to click on it and select a single word, then it's accessible. So for example, I just pulled up from our scanner in our office. If you go into the settings, you'll see there that it says convert to searchable PDF. Now, it takes just slightly, 2 or 3 more seconds when it scans. It scans and then you kind of wait for a couple seconds and then it's done. But that is time well spent versus having to go back and rescan all of your documents. I also, in one of the sessions that I went to, the Western Governors University Accessibility Checklist was an excellent document that had kind of a, there are lots of ways to, so this was just kind of a simple format that they had for looking at things, because sometimes when you go into the accessibility guidelines, you feel like you need a degree in computer science to understand them. And so this one I found really helpful, and they did make it a open source document under Creative Commons. So that's what I wanted to share with you today, and I'd like to thank Global Campus and my dean and department head for providing the funding for me to attend.